we will call to order the Cumberland County Salary Board of Commissioners meeting. And we are going to begin this meeting with a public hearing regarding the 2024 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report for the Cumberland County CDBG and home programs. And it's full of acronyms. So Michaela, walk us through this. We'll call that hearing to order, and we have to present Michaela Kitchen, the Assistant Director of the Cumberland County Redevelopment Authority.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, it is full of acronyms. I will do my best to explain. So we internally just call this the CAPER. That's what it spells out. This is a requirement of entitlement communities, so such as Cumberland County, Carlisle Borough, on and on. This comes at the end of the year to basically give a summary of how we spent the funds. So it's used to outline those investments and programmatic requirements and all the accomplishments that we've had. So we will run through first a summary of the open funding channels that we have. For 2024, we received an allocation of $1,254,163 in CDBG and $497,075.18 in home funds. The 18 cents is very important. We also in 2020 received CDBG CV CARES grant. Now that was meant to mitigate the effects of COVID. So that was $1,947,384, and we do still have a bit of that open. We also had in 2021 home ARP money, and that was totaling $1,903,664. So those are the three main channels that we have open that we're reporting on. CDBG timeliness, unexpended funds may not total more than 1.5 times the current year's grant amount by May 2nd. We have met the timeliness requirement, the ratio being 1.4%. 1.48%. Low and moderate income benefit, at least 70% of expended funds must be used on program activities that benefit LMI persons, which is low and moderate income. The county did expend 89.65% of CDBG funds on LMI benefit. To date, we have spent $927,854.75, or 59.77% of that CDBG CV grant. Public service cap, a maximum of 15% of the annual allocation funds plus program income or the program year expenditure may be spent on public service activities. The county has utilized $198,224.46, or 13% of expenditures to that public service cap. As of end of plan year 2024, the county has expended $238,943.25, or 12.27% of CDBG CV total expenditures on public service activities. Lastly, planning and admin, no more than 20% of the annual CDBG allocation plus program income may be used for planning and administration activities. The county did expend $209,682.19, or 14.69% of the total funds available in this category. As for CDBG CV, we spent $385,411.33, or 19.79% in that planning and administration cap. Accomplishments of CDBG in housing category, we spent $105,678.75 on down payment and closing cost assistance programs and code enforcement throughout the county. In public facilities, we spent $649,593.04 for 9 different facilities projects throughout the county. Public service, we spent $198,224.46 on 10 different public service projects. Economic development, we spent $53,140.22 for 2 different programs, Cumberland Street View program and 1 business acquisition. And on to home, Chodo Reserve, a formula grant recipient of home funds must reserve a minimum of 15% of its annual grant to be used by community housing development organizations. The county's minimum reserve for plan year 2024, based on the allocation that we received, was $74,561.28. We have reserved it, but we have yet to obligate it to an activity. A Chodo has to approach us and request those funds, essentially. Home match requirement, there is a 25% match requirement of non-federal funds for the total amount of home funds drawn. Based on the draws subject to the match requirement in the amount of $442,108.75, the county was obligated to provide $110,527.18 in qualified matching funds. And planning and admin for home. Planning and admin costs cannot exceed 10% of the total home grant. We have allocated $49,707.52 of plan year 2024 towards planning and administration activities. And we have expended $28,511.44 of the remaining 2023 administration funds. So that's the prior year. Home accomplishments. We have assisted financially with the development of several units across the county. First, we have Tri-County Housing Development Corporation. They did new construction of one single-family home and then acquisition and rehabilitation of another single-family home. Safe Harbor, obviously Harbor Village at Smith Farms has been a hot topic this year. We did assist them with acquisition and new construction of that development. Nonprofit operating assistance. The county is required to at least have 5% of the home ARP grant to assist a nonprofit operating cost. $95,183.20 has been set aside and reserved for those purposes, but again, has yet to be obligated to a specific activity. They have to approach us and request that specifically. Planning and administration, home ARP planning and administration cannot exceed 15% of the allocation awarded. The county has obligated $285,549.60 to be utilized for those costs. And as of June 30th of this year, the end of our financial year, they have expended $66,063.88 to assist with those costs. The accomplishments for home ARP, in supportive services categories, we spent $682,931.20 to 8 different projects. 4 of them have completed already, so that's good news. These organizations used a combined amount of $77,195.50 in plan year 2024 to assist 246 different individuals and households. Tenant-based rental assistance, $202,888 was obligated to New Hope Ministries. To date, they've used $200,000 of that to help 95 different households. Acquisition and development of non-congregate shelter, $125,000 is obligated to domestic violence services of Cumberland and Perry counties for repairs and maintenance of their existing shelter space. And to date, they have used $93,180.92. For the development of affordable rental housing, $275,000 was obligated and expended to Safe Harbor to the rehabilitation of affordable rental units dedicated to individuals who've been chronically homeless or will utilize rapid rehousing. $50,000 was expended for soft costs for the Safe Harbor Village project. So financial summary and CDBG, our final unexpended balance for 2024 at this point is $1,713,671.72. In CDBG CB, we have total balance of $9,666.78. In home, we have a total unexpended balance of $100,234.50. And in home ARP, we have a balance of $789,284.82. So that is the breakdown. As in previous years, we do try to target sort of the highest LMI concentrations throughout the county, and we try to spread those funds around to different projects so that we're covering everything. With our partnership with the county and KDIC, we also are working toward those small business development. So another side of the coin, you have LMI populations being helped, but you're also trying to help the economic development. We do have a couple of upcoming home projects to hopefully get some of those funds expended down. There's 2 in the works right now. And we just, we try to work with different units of local government, different nonprofits, anyone who needs that help. We really try to work them through that process and give them the answers that they would need. So that is our report. That is our caper. That is for planning year 2024. We're open to public comment.
Okay, well, I do have a couple of questions, Michaela, more for, just a few questions about this. So this report is available to the public, correct?
Yes.
And then the other question I would ask is, you've mentioned several times that you have these funds, and quite frankly, when I see $1 million hanging out, we hear repeatedly the need for housing, affordable housing, rental assistance. So Do you put out calls? You said that they need to approach you about projects. Do you guys put out a call for those projects?
We do. So we have an RFP out for home funds. We have it on our website and I've posted it on our social media a couple of times, regularly. Home is harder to get out because there's just so many requirements attached to it and there's an affordability period attached to it. And a lot of times I think that scares developers. Like I said, we do have at least two applications in that we are trying to push through. The other thing that we're looking at is possibly using these funds internally to take some of our blighted properties from that program. I know Gary's been a part of that with us, and use those funds to try to create some single family housing, rehabilitate those buildings or tear them down and build new ones, frankly. Something that we're looking into.
And I know Tri-County has done a number of successful projects, and I know there was the blight by the LaTorte School where I think you tore down and rebuilt some units. So those projects are really meaningful in the community, certainly when they happen. The only other question I would ask about the reporting was when you've given the lump sums like in public facilities and then mentioned there were 9 projects. Is there a reason that you don't break that down over the projects? For public facilities, public services, to know what each project was allotted?
There's not. To be quite honest, I don't put this report together. My coworker does, and then I come and present it to you guys. So that is definitely something that I can ask that we put in next year. I know that to put this together, she does go into the back end of a HUD website and kind of enter data. So I'll have to see if that's something that it spits it out for her. You know what I mean? But I can definitely check on that, or even next time, I can write them in and let you know, and I can send that over to you if you like.
I think it would be good for us to know. We do hear from different recipients of these funds, and to know approximately what they were awarded would be very helpful. And I did hear that I guess the project at the Tyco site received HUD approval for tax credit program.
To be quite honest, I
Okay.
don't know about that project.
I just was curious if we knew what time, the timeline for that coming online for affordable housing.
I can certainly check with someone and make sure that we get you that answer.
I think it just happened.
I think that on this, at least on the CDBG funds, I believe that when Mary has been here to present for us, and we changed that formatting, so she was taking that down to the, each entity, how many dollars of CDBG funds were being received. So then those numbers are somewhere. Right, that are probably far more easy to get to than going to the HUD website.
Yes.
And if I know that at the last CCHRA meeting, there was a conversation about the federal government still funding some things, but there's no one there to help you, right? There's no one to get a hold of to say, hey, I have a question, I need some help with this. How do I work this? So I think that might be some of the issue. I think it's interesting what Commissioner Nieder has talked about with this over $1 million sitting around. I had a nonprofit reach out to me late yesterday. I'm going to connect them to you. I don't know if you can help them, but they have a pretty immediate need. So maybe that's a channel. But what's interesting about it is that even though you put this on the website and it's out there on social media, right, it doesn't go off in people's heads like, oh, that's where I go. That's where I can go for some help. So I will do that today, Miguel.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Michaela, one last question. Your ARPA funding is not yet all fully expended. Are you also under the timeline, or do you have an extension of 2026, or can you go beyond that with your funding?
I am not immediately sure. Again, this is, I mean, to be quite honest, this money came in before I started in this position, so I've not really been on that. Again, that's an answer I can get for you from my coworker Bri, and we can send that over for sure.
I just wondered the urgency around getting those funds expended. I mean, there may be different rules for you than there are for others in the program, but I was just curious.
I know there's been a discussion around that also internally of possibly trying to reallocate some of that money probably to TBRA, tenant-based rental assistance. We have a number of organizations that do really well with that program. They know how it goes, and we can trust them to get it out efficiently. So we have been talking about that as well. Mary comes back into the office November 3rd, so I imagine there's going to be some discussions and trying to get things reallocated essentially.
That's right. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Michaela, are there any other questions of Michaela at this time? All right. If there are any other public comments or questions within the room of Michaela related to this?
We have one hand raised.
Okay,
We have a hand raised from, I believe, from New Hope Ministries.
okay.
So,
So if the representative from New Hope Ministries, we will admit you if you would state your name and then please ask your question. Oh, there you are.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was just waiting for the connection to go through. I'm Eric Saunders. I'm the Executive Director at New Hope Ministries. And I just wanted to comment on the CAPER report and say thank you. Over the last couple of years, the awards we've received through CDBG have just been amazingly important and allowed us to do a couple of important things. Number one, we were able to install a walk-in refrigerator and freezer for our food pantry in Enola. That benefited 1,956 Cumberland County residents last year. On their behalf, I wanted to say thank you because it means fresh food, healthy food to help those who are struggling with food insecurity. The second part of that award, we received just over $200,000. And all of those funds have been expended now and helped 96 Cumberland County families to avoid eviction, obviously leading to homelessness and, great hardship. And so on their behalf, I wanted to say thank you and let everyone know how much we appreciate our partnership with Cumberland County, the Redevelopment Authority, and the commissioners. We are grateful. The people that receive the help are grateful, and we look forward to many, many years of continued partnership. So thank you.
Eric, thank you for your
Thanks, Eric.
comments. We really appreciate it. And I was lucky to tour that facility in East Pennsboro Township, and it was a hive of activity, and you guys do such great work. So thank you for all you're doing to meet the needs in the community. We really do appreciate that.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments that anyone would like to make at this time? We do not need to take any action. Oh, we will do that later in the agenda. Yes. So at this time, are there any other questions? No, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment from the public hearing.
So moved.
It's moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We will now go into the salary board and we will call the salary board to order. And begin with a roll call, please, Lauren.
Commissioner Nieder,
I am here.
Commissioner Fashi,
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger, Controller Wiggum.
Here.
We open it up to any public comment related to salary board items at this time. And if we have none, we will go proceed to the approval of the minutes of the October 9th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 9th.
A second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will move into this approval of the salary board actions.
I'll make a motion to approve the salary board actions as presented, except for the district attorney health.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that leaves us to the district attorney's items on the salary board.
And I would make a motion for the approval of the district attorney's action items on the salary board.
I'll second that motion.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, is there any other business to come before the salary board at this time?
None.
There is none. We'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned. We will move into the Board of Commissioners meeting and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now call to order the Board of Commissioners meeting and begin with the roll call.
Commissioner Nieder,
I am here.
Commissioner Fashi,
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Is there any public comment on any non-agenda items? If there's anyone online wishing to make a public comment, please use the raise your hand feature. Nothing, all right. We will move into what I always call the best part of our agenda, and that is recognizing a long-term tenured employee who started when she was just 12, right? We have with us Robin Tolan here from our mental health IDD department, and we would like to recognize her for 20 years of service. I believe my colleague, Commissioner Eichelberger, is going to take this. So
Okay.
we will come on up, and if you wanna, we'll take some photos.
Yeah, yeah, I've not been to center of attention before.
And Annie, welcome.
Okay, well, we've had the distinct honor of working with Robin for quite a number of years now. She's been here during the most critical years of function here. I'm gonna let Annie go first, since she's the person on the spot.
Oh, my goodness.
Day-to-day basis. I'll follow it.
Well, you know, I've known Robin for a long time.
I was 12, remember?
She was 12, yes. The last 20 years, we've been honored to have Robin with us as part of our department. Robin was hired back in October of 2005 during the closure of Harrisburg State Hospital. So here we are 20 years later, still talking a lot about mental health treatment services, and, you know, incredible need in the community that has still existed. But Robin was hired specifically to really look at the quality improvement, quality assurance aspects of the county programs, as well as our health choices program. And she was our first and is our only quality assurance manager. And she took that role very, very seriously and created truly a quality management program, and has really led our region in many ways, developing quality aspects for all county programs. She's actually helped other counties kind of get their act together. So, you know, in many ways, she has led the charge. 6 years ago, we started being able to report our CCRI, our Consolidated Consumer Reporting Initiative. We purchased software, and Robin provided leadership to basically creating an electronic record system where all of our providers, there's like more than 120 users across our county, using basically a virtual private network to submit claims and authorizations for mental health services in Cumberland County, all being reported back to the Commonwealth, which puts us in good light with the Commonwealth, because we're reporting a lot of information. She's continued to lead that because our crisis data wasn't submitted this year. In fact, just the past few months, and she's, you know, completing 20 years of service, she's been really dedicated to making sure that those aspects are also put together and in place. So, you know, I appreciate Robin. I can remember way back in the 1980s, seeing Robin whenever I was working at the state hospital, and she was coming to the state hospital. So, you know, we've had a lot of community engagement, a lot of knowledge working around the system together. So having her as part of the county has been an amazing experience for many years. And I'm just going to wrap up here quickly. We shared an office. And when you share an office with somebody, you really get to know them. And there were so many times, and we still get a lot of phone calls from families frustrated, from people with the lived experience of mental illness, frustrated with services and upset. And I can always tell when Robin's talking to a family member or a person who's upset with services, and, you know, inadequate services or a complaint, because her cadence of her voice changes, it softens, and you can hear the warmth. You can hear the warmth and the care. And she epitomizes mission-driven work. And she also just, you know, you can tell she genuinely is concerned about the system, the community, and people. And that's what makes her so good at what she does. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Annie. It has been a long road. In addition to the 20 years with the county, the number of years before that, back in the early 80s. So I have been privileged to support many of the consumers and agencies and programs in our county through this position.
I'll just add one or two things. So being a long-termer here myself, we've worked together for quite a while. And I found it interesting. We're still talking about the state hospital closure after all these years. A lot of the questions that were raised at that time are still being addressed. We received all types of assurances from the Commonwealth, And, we're still wrestling with the issues from that, the unavailability of that facility largely. So it's sort of amazing when things change, that they stay the same. But the change we like is that you're with us now. So can't say enough good things about Robin's demeanor and her cooperation and work style. So you've been through a pretty difficult time in the general mental health area, a difficult time for this county. And I just want to reemphasize something you said. We're really proud of the quality that exists in our mental health office. It is a role model for a lot of other counties, and a good bit of that falls on the quality management aspect that Robin has introduced and developed and nurtured throughout the years. So we're really proud of what you've done. I'm going to ignore those rumors I've been hearing about possible retirement.
Not rumors.
There'll be another presentation someday in the future, but we're hoping it's well into the future. But anyhow, that's we appreciate your commitment, and we have a little thank you for your 20 years of service. And don't spend it all in one place. So, thank you very much.
And take some, Annie, come on in, we'll do some formal and
Where am I going? Remember, make me look skinny.
There we go. All right. I'm gonna take several. All right, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
next up, we have a couple of other awards we need to acknowledge, and there's some biggies. We have recognition of receiving the Triple Crown Medallion from the Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA. Do we have any hardware related to this time, or is it just an acknowledgement?
Just an acknowledgement.
Okay, well, do we want to take pictures now, or will we take them later with hardware?
We usually get a little bit.
Okay. Oh, we have them. Okay.
They aren't getting the whole plaque anymore.
Oh, you don't get your big plaque.
Pin goes on the plaque. They still do it?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We used to display it in here. It's not
Okay. So the GFOA for some awards, the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And I've learned that it's been 37 consecutive years now out that that's been received. The Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, and that has been 18 years. This is the 18th year of receiving that. And the Popular Annual Financial Reporting Award, which is commonly called the PAFR around the county. And that is this is the 27th year that that's being received by Cumberland County. So this is really the great work of the Controller's Office and the Finance Office and what they're doing and bringing to the county. Every day it gets culminated in their annual reporting, but it's the work that happens here on a daily basis. And so let's get some folks from anyone here from the Controller's Office and the Finance Office. Come on down. And who's got the pins?
These are the ones responsible. I don't know what you're gonna.
Bill Fulton, have you been here for how many of these?
25.
20. Come on in, I think we're gonna need 2 rows.
Yeah.
I can stand right.
Taller in the back, yeah.
Come on in, Carrie. Please go.
Look, even Lynn can.
Oh, yeah, Lynn.
You're not gonna block that.
Okay.
I'm shorter than you.
I know. No, it's good.
All right.
I think we're all in.
Yeah, I think we're pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. All right. All right, everyone, look here. I'm gonna take several. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.
If I could just make one comment.
Yes, please do, Al.
Cumberland County citizens are very fortunate to have such dedicated staff. Both of these offices. They do a great job. Thank you.
Well, Al, how many years now? Is this will be your final award recognition, perhaps, I believe?
Yeah. 40 years.
40 years. Thank you. You know, clearly your past 27 years of leadership has been, as you said, very, very beneficial to the county
The
and
Paffers are great
deeply appreciated.
information
Yeah.
for the citizens.
I think, did you guys start getting this award at the first time they've ever awarded it?
I think it was second or third year.
Okay. Darn. You
I
missed,
think-
you missed the whole street.
I think Allegheny County was ahead of us.
Okay, well, well done, all of you. Thank you very much.
I think we should all say thank you to Al.
Yes.
This isn't, he's not running again.
Yeah.
And he has made a big difference in this county. He hired me 30 years ago. So that's where I started, was in the controller's office. And I have to say thank you for all that you've done for me and everybody else that's standing here.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had to put him on the
No,
spot.
that's okay. Very good. Thank you all very much. You're welcome to stick around, or if you have other things or places you need to be, I understand. All right. That takes us to the consent agenda portion of the agenda today, and I'll turn that over to our chief clerk, Stacey Snyder.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so the consent agenda is a list of routine items that do not appear to be controversial in nature and also do not seem to require any additional discussion. Anybody would request discussion on agenda items number 6 through 16. Now would be the time to make that request. Hearing none, seeing none, commissioners, I would request approval of the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. That takes us then to the regular agenda. And this is a list of non-routine items that we discussed and maybe acted upon individually. We'll start with agenda items 17 and 18, which are related to the public hearing that opened up our meeting. Agenda item number 17 is discussion and approval of the 2024 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. I'm not going to continue. Michaela did a nice job of explaining the acronyms earlier.
Yes,
Do you
she
have any
did.
additional questions, Commissioner?
I do not. Would someone like to make a motion to accept that report?
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners. And then agenda item 18 is discussion and approval of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Plan Year 25 CDBG and Home Grant Acceptance.
Someone like to
So
make a
moved.
motion? First,
I'll second.
it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Michaela.
Get you those answers in the email.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
And agenda item 19 starts the contract section of the regular agenda, and I'll ask Angela Kaiser to work through those, please.
Thanks, Stacey.
Good morning, everybody. Agenda item 19, I will call on Greg Welker, who I believe is joining us virtually, to discuss an agreement between Cumberland County, the IDA, and the Military Heritage Foundation. Good morning, Greg. Are you with us?
I am, thank you. Good morning, everyone. As far as this agreement, this is a cooperation agreement that the Office of the Budget requires the host municipality to essentially guarantee any grant funds that are ultimately dispersed for these projects. This particular project for the Military Heritage Foundation represents a $1 million investment from the Commonwealth towards the expansion of the Hall of the American Soldier Visitor and Education Center. While the project is ongoing, we understand that approvals have been obtained through their leadership, and we expect that project to move forward rather quickly. So we are presenting this cooperation agreement for your consideration, so that way we can ensure fluid movement as the project progresses, and we can make sure that the project is ready for disbursement once it is complete.
Would someone like to?
I will move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 And Greg has two more agreements that are similar. So the next one, Greg, is the one with Organic Remedies.
Organic Remedies, similar scenario here. This is actually a combination of multiple awards that were made between 2020 and 2022, totaling $3.5 million towards the renovation and expansion of the grower processing facility.
Someone like to make a
I will
motion?
move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. I'm going to recuse myself from this vote. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 And I will abstain. Thank you. Move on to the next.
And then Greg, the last one is with Messiah University.
Yep, Messiah University, the construction portion of the project is actually complete. So we will be moving through compliance with the state assigned consultant and office of the budget. So this is one of the last pieces that we'll need to complete that checklist for that reimbursement to be issued.
No, and I move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you.
That takes us to agenda item 22, and I will call on Terry Finkenbeiner to discuss the cost allocations for fiscal year 2024. Good morning.
Good morning. So finance is requesting approval to accept the 2024 cost allocation plan that's prepared by Maximus and will be used to charge out to departments in 2026. This cost allocation plan is used to charge back costs to the departments in order to maximize our federal and state.
I do not. You shared all the numbers. Thank
Yes,
you
you
very
did.
much. I entertain a
I move
motion.
to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Terry. Great, that takes us to agenda item 23. I'll call on Bethany Salzarullo to discuss a credit application for the Bureau of Elections. Good morning, Bethany.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, commissioners. This is a credit application for us to be able to lease a storage container to be able to house all of our ADA equipment that, as you know, we need for all of our polling locations. And this lease agreement is for 5 years. Hopefully we won't, I don't know what we'll do after that, but we'll hopefully figure it out. And we will be able to use grant funds for this purchase. So.
Thank you.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you, Bethany.
Thank you.
Right, moving on to agenda item 24, we have a contract and a grant for aging and community services. Kim Winton is with us to discuss the first item and Katie Zimmerman to discuss the second. Good morning, Kim.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, commissioners. First Home Healthcare is a new provider who will be providing home support and personal care to our eligible consumers in the options program. Any questions?
You want me to go so you can do them both? Okay. So the second item is a grant from the PA Department of Aging, which will allow us to get in-kind assistance with developing an elder abuse multidisciplinary team. So this is basically a team of diverse stakeholders who can come together to deal with complex cases to better support an older adult in our community.
Any questions on that?
No, I move to approve.
There's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
All right, that takes us to agenda item 25, and I will call on Eric Bradnovich to discuss a contract for the District Attorney's Office FIP.
Good morning,
Eric.
Commissioner. Hi, good morning, Commissioners. The contract before you is with Dr. Carrie Summers. She's a certified latent fingerprint examiner, and she's used to help our quality control and second verify in our latent fingerprint division.
Are there any questions, Frank?
I do not have any.
No,
Someone like to?
I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, that takes us to agenda item 26. I'll call on Mark Adams to discuss the contract for IMTO. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. This is a contract for 3 years of telephone service. We use Lumen today. We're just extending the contract for 3 more years. We are getting a little bit of a cost savings just by the rates reduced. It is $108,378 for a 3-year period. That covers our phone services. So 75 different call paths, so inbound and outbound calls, 100,000 minutes every month for prepaid minutes, and then some extra for overages, which, we're using the best plan and the best cost savings we can to make it worth the money. So I'm asking for your approval today.
Okay, thank you.
I move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Mark. That takes us to agenda item 27, and I'll call on Miranda Melton to discuss the contracts for MHIDD. Good morning, Miranda.
I have two contracts for you today. The first is a new contract for our IDD. This is for Allnair Resources. They are a provider who is now going to be providing respite services for our consumers. This contract is for $6,864. The second contract I have for you is a renewal. This is a 6-month agreement with NHS Stevens Center. They provide multiple services for us, administrative case management, targeted case management, assertive community treatment, family-based services, housing support, outpatient, whole bunch of stuff. This contract is actually decreasing from our 6-month contract that we held last year. It's for $1,155,376. Any questions?
I don't have any.
No,
Entertain
and
a
I
motion.
move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Miranda.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is a grant application for planning. Elizabeth Grant was not able to join us this morning, so she had reached out to me with a little summary, so I'm going to present it on her behalf. And she said she can follow up with any questions afterwards if there are any. So this is the grant application for the countywide action plan implementation and coordinator to DEP for 2026. It is 100% grant funded with no general fund match required. The request is for $1,323,077, which includes $100,000 in coordinator funding, as well as funding for the following projects. The Conservation District Cover Crop Incentive Program for $150,000. The Borough of Carlisle Orange Street Basin Retrofit Project for $290,788.13. The Lower Allen Township Manor at Westport Basin Retrofit Project for $337,400. The Lemoyne Borough Pear Street Drainage Infiltration Project, $75,000. The Dickinson Township Municipal Campus Plan Project, $334,488.76. And the Middle Spring Watershed Association Martin Avenue Stormwater BMP, which is $35,400. So they are requesting approval to submit the application as identified with these projects, and it's due to be submitted to ESA by October 31st. And then DEP will make an eligibility and award determination and award based on priority.
That's a lot of great projects. Thank you.
They're certainly needed in the county.
They
Certainly
are.
needed, and I
Absolutely.
move to approve.
Thank you. Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that takes us to agenda item 29. I'll call on Travis Shank to discuss a contract for the prison. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Commissioner. Almost made the top 25.
Yeah.
Tough crowd. This is the President's annual contract with the Carlisle Area Religious Council for chaplaincy services at CCP. The cost of this contract is $87,507. That is an increase of $1,477 from last year. And that reason for that increase would be the basic 2.5 step increase that we're providing for the chaplain.
Got it.
Okay, very good.
Any
Thank you.
questions?
I do not have
And
any.
I move to approve.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Ward.
All right, the next item is a contract addendum for public safety, and I'll call on Brian Hamilton to present. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, everybody. Public Safety is asking for your approval of change order number 6 within our existing contract with the Motorola Solutions as it pertains to the capital project 2017-39 for the P25 Public Safety Radio Project. In this change order, we're being issued a credit for unused technician level training courses that will no longer be provided by Motorola because it has been decided that our staff will not need this level of training due to these services being included in our maintenance contract. We will also be adding a few things to the contract that have been determined essential to the success of the project to include hardware within the 911 center and the tower site locations. The net result in these changes is a credit of $452,836.27. I'm happy to answer any questions and ask for your approval for change order number 6 with Motorola Solutions as outlined.
Brian, I'm happy to support a change order, but I'm just curious. So we have this credit amount. If we don't use it, how long can we carry it forward, or can it be used for, or will they rebate it to us?
Yes, it will not go away. So if we have anything left at the end of the project, we can apply that to a final milestone or maintenance or something like that. It will not disappear.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
I will move to approve. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, and thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And that concludes the contract and grant section, so I'll turn back over to Stacy. Thank you, Angela. That takes us then to agenda item 31, which is discussion and approval of a capital project request for IMTO. And I'll call on Darren Beige to discuss.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. Here to ask for the purchase of replacement network switches. This is an annual purchase that we do. Our current switches are going end of life, and so we like to keep them up to date. The current switches will no longer receive updates or anything like that, so it's important to do that. I'm asking for $50,000, and that will replace about 7 to 8 switches.
Is that enough?
Is that enough?
Yeah, that number seems very low when we have 150 in production. That has me concerned.
We roll them out. There's a rotating basis. We keep them up to date.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Still sticking with Cisco?
Yes. Yeah.
Very good. I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks, Darren.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. That takes us then to Commissioner's liaison reports and Commissioner Neal.
Yes. Commissioner Fashi and I were really busy. I think I've had multiple events over the last week or two. I attended Western Cog, but I think Jean will provide the update. We did a tour of the stream restoration project out in Mount Holly Springs and got to see the award-winning Ridge Road project as well, which was on a lovely, lovely day. And Brooke was really proud, I think, to show the work that had been done there for this stream, which had great impacts for the area of Mount Holly with runoff, that they no longer have to close Route 34, which has a lot of traffic on it. We attended the Domestic Violence Services Candlelight Vigil, and Bethany House celebrated 5 years of being available to, and this is young women that have aged out of the foster system and have nowhere to go. It helps get these young women either through high school and then on to self-sufficiency through their program. And I forget 32, I want to say, girls I think have gone through the program. I attended the Penn State Health, their cancer center opening. It was wonderful. It's a beautiful facility. It's a great thing that they are bringing their care here. Their cancer care is world renowned, and that we have that right available within Cumberland County. We're deeply appreciative for all the great healthcare providers we have here in our county. And we shouldn't take it for granted, as many rural counties are struggling to have hospitals and facilities. I delivered some welcomes at the election school, which is always great. So I'd like to say again here, thank you to all of the folks that attended those trainings, and we look forward to a successful election here in the first part of November. Last evening, Commissioner Fashi and I attended a UPMC reception where they were talking about some of the things that they're bringing to the area as well. And today, I believe, is the last household hazardous waste. I'm not sure if Barry will have more update on that. I did attend the Cumberland County Commission for Women meeting, and we are having an upcoming event, the Women's Healthcare Resource Fair. It is November 1st from 10 to 2 at the Simpson Library Book Sale Center. So it's not at the library, it's at the Book Sale Center. And Gary, what was that former? Was it an Agway facility? So it's the former Agway in Mechanicsburg. We're looking forward to that. At the meeting, the ladies elected officers and did a strategic plan for the next year. And then on another bit of exciting news, the Commission for Women is going to be receiving the Government Leader of the Year award from Creedick, and that celebration will be December 10th. So I think it's a wonderful acknowledgement of the work that they're doing to raise issues that affect women in Cumberland County, and I'm very proud of the work that they're doing and happy to be a part of it. We did hold a planning commission meeting, and there were several action items on that. They approved the expanded data center overlay to add 11 parcels in Southampton on their zoning map. The Lemoyne Borough, they recommended approval for the rezoning of a parcel from urban residential to downtown. Middlesex, there was an approval for the blighted property that was presented, which I'm, as a resident of Middlesex Township, very much looking forward to. It's the old hotel at 1245 Harrisburg Pike that is just in horrible, horrible condition. And lastly, they approved 2 properties requested to be placed into the ASA. It was 130 acres for the keepers in Southampton Township and 148 acres in West Pennsboro Township, which would be the Beish Farm. So all in all, a really good meeting that they had. And I think that is it then for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Fauci.
So Commissioner Nieder and I attended the Western Council of Governments on October 13th, and Pat Sangialosi from Cook Township again would like to make sure that this board is fully aware that those Motorola radios need to work in Cook Township. And today she talked that on the 13th, she talked about making sure that they work in warehouses. So I know that we have briefed everyone, that our own Brian Hamilton and Bob Shively have briefed us tremendously on the capacity of those radios, and I believe it's going to be okay. Now, if it's not, I'm pretty sure Pat's coming after me.
We will see her at a meeting.
Yes, yes, we will. The Housing and Redevelopment Authority met, and I'm glad Michaela was here to go through their plan. And I will reiterate what I said, commented about that plan, and some questions that we have, is that the federal government appears to be funding the work that they do at this point in time, particularly in terms of public housing. But there is no one at the federal government to help them. They cannot get anyone on the phone. They cannot get anyone via email. So it makes it very difficult for them to do their jobs. I am very glad that that money is flowing from the federal government, from HUD into CCHRA, but I also wonder how long that will last. So that could really be a pressure point for this county as things move forward. Yes, we attended the Domestic Violence Services Candlelight Vigil. We did the tour of the stream. I was at election school. The Western COG mentioned this, and I think this is an interesting thing for our own recycling people to be thinking about. They talked about the cost of recycling for municipalities versus the cost of landfill. It is a lot less expensive to take things to the landfill. They have a mandate for recycling, and that mandate is very expensive for some of our municipalities. And they talked about how that recycling, if you're not cleaning your recycling, it's contaminated and it's dumped in the landfill anyway. So they're concerned that they have a mandate that's so expensive and then things are not being recycled. So I think that's an important thing. Maybe our group can have that conversation.
Yeah, I think that's going to become more of an issue, especially now with lithium batteries. It's all the discussion as well. So I think we're going to have some real things to discuss as it relates to recycling in Cumberland County.
Yes. And if you go over to the Latort Park and you walk into the park, on the right-hand side, there is a purple bench that was put there by an Eagle Scout. It was an Eagle Scout project. And this young woman's project is to, it brings light to domestic violence and that issue in the county, but it's modeled after a chatty bench. And a chatty bench is a place where you can go and you can sit and someone can join you and you can talk about a variety of issues without judgment. And it's just such a great project. And that bench is bright purple and it is really built to last. There's a nice piece of information there, a plaque telling you where to go if you need assistance. It was a great project and I was really glad Domestic Violence Services invited me to go along. And I would remind you to use the Cumberland County Library system. And that's it. Thanks. Susan.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, handful of items here. Was concerned at the last meeting on we'd end up probably missing some meetings since I was playing the chief nurse and housekeeper to my wife. She has her hip replacement. She's healing nicely, by the way. So, but that ended up not really being a problem because the MHIDD board meeting was not last week as appeared on our calendars. There's been a scheduling glitch somewhat tied to the change in the bylaws there. Andy and I conferred yesterday. We got all that straightened out. Our calendars now should be more reliable. They should be accurate at this point. I'm going through manually checking some more of them to make sure that we got that. So that meeting was not held. Aging was held on Friday. I did Zoom that. And I will address the things that I have here now separate from the in-person meeting. So we have, I'm going to start with recycling since that was just discussed here. So, yeah, the household hazardous waste event is today. I got update from Justin about it, but he didn't about his department, but he did not mention that. So I do not know if there's any slots left. That's a pre-registration event. So
It's booked full.
it is booked full. Okay, they typically have booked full or nearly full. So not a surprise, but that's a good thing. People are finding that useful. Hazardous waste. Just remembered I have some turpentine and some paint at home. See if I can reach out there. So of course, the steering committee schedule has changed there. So recycling, solid waste does not meet as often. The next meeting is scheduled for November 4. There are 2 subcommittees as part of the bylaws change, and they are looking at battery management education and recycling of those batteries, as well as glass recycling options. So we'll see where that goes. And because of some of the comments that were made earlier, just mentioned it, there have been mandates put in place going back to Governor Casey, I believe it was Act 101, that imposed these requirements on us. And there was some generous state subsidy at the time, a lot of it driven by volume. I don't think those exist anymore, but that was always meant as a transitional thing. Anyhow, a lot of municipalities have struggled with this issue. And I think one of the things that needs to be more fully appreciated is not only because of relative newness, the practice of getting people to practice recycling is difficult, took a lot of education. And further complicating that is the fact that the market for recyclable materials is in constant flux. So we no sooner, I can tell you, Mechanicsburg, where I live, there's a regular mailing that goes out telling us, okay, don't put this in the recycling bin anymore, but you can put this in. So that's more than what the average citizen can keep up with. So it's not surprising that this becomes a difficult thing for municipalities and the county to address in an efficient way. We had earlier, you may recall, we were working on plans for recycling building out along Army Heritage, and that's now shelved. But a big part of that, the spec for that was that be large, flexible space that would allow us to flex with the changes in the marketplace as well. So those changes are here to stay, but there are a whole raft of issues and concerns surrounding recycling. So that's going to be a large issue, not just here, but everywhere going forward. And it shouldn't surprise us, but there's going to be a lot of discussion by the recycling folks. I still want to say authority as the committee. So a lot of discussion about what's the future direction there. And of course, with so much uncertainty, they can't plan with great finality. So, but that's going to just continue to be an issue. We'll be reporting on that regularly, I am sure. So moving on here, we've got just a couple other things. So even though there was no MHIDD meeting, Andy did send me an update at my request. So they have a lot of things going on. So just give you a quick, the New Visions Regional long-term structured residential project. Unfortunately, New Visions is not yet able to break ground on the project The reason for that is there's been like a colony of endangered bats identified, and bats are extremely threatened right now. White nose syndrome was in the headlines a few years ago. So, major impact on bats, and bats, of course, as we learn from our conversations with the Extension Office and Conservation District, play a vital role in our ecosystem. So, so that is on hold until that issue is resolved. The bats are in hibernation during the period of time which site clearing would have taken place, so that's a no-no. So they're in contact with the state so that they can find a solution on that. And the projected open date has now been pushed to September rather than spring, so they can address this issue in compliance with the law and just good sense ecologically. So, so we'll be hearing about this project for a while, I'm sure. Also, the Independent Regulatory Review Commission at the Commonwealth has released proposed crisis regulations. They are seeking public input. So there is a website that will allow those to gather public input or input from anybody. So that'll have a significant impact potentially on our crisis intervention programs. On Tuesday, last Tuesday, MH staff attended the Region 3 AOPC Summit. That was in Bedford. And by the way, this is paid for by the Commonwealth, not by the county. And this was working with Perry County's officials, because they have a different, even though we're all part of the same joiner, Perry County had a different session they were assigned to than we were. But our folks are required to attend both. So, because there's some significant differences there. So that was held last week. So we had folks there in force, and that is an interdisciplinary, inter-office initiative involving district attorney, probation, children and youth, public defender. So it's a pretty big deal. Our folks go to that every year and provide a lot of input in that. Department of Human Services has also developed methodology so counties can submit crisis data to a consolidated consumer reporting initiative. And they're working with the crisis providers to make their job a little easier in complying with that. So those meetings are ongoing now. Even though there's no budget, they got plenty to do. The next advisory board meeting is November 20th at the same that time, 12:15 afternoon. So that is MH4 now. I have no update on the connections contract. Aging meeting. Let's see real quick. It was we addressed the grant today and it was approved for the multidisciplinary team, and that's for the Older Adult Protective Services program. That will be a startup grant. So that's going to become, it does not provide for ongoing funding. So that'll become another item we're going to have to keep tabs on. Medicare open enrollment started. Our folks provide a lot of assistance to the public on that. So there's going to be telephone and in-person, face-to-face, voice-to-voice interaction with the public to educate and assist folks in the Medicare enrollment. Just as a reminder, aging is not receiving lottery payments until the budget's passed. They do continue to receive money for the assessments they have to do. And that is functional eligibility determinations for Medicaid services. And that's part of the contract. So money's still flowing there. But again, everybody's anxious for a resolution. There are individuals who are up for reappointment on the board. The board's going to be forwarding, I think, additional names because there are more vacancies than were expected. They also have some staff members that are coming up in retirement, and there'll be postings for central positions there. And I have some information. I think we're getting short on time. I'll just forward this to you. It's just a head count on the waiver program that IDD is conducting. And one last item I did want to mention is I attended the committee meeting of CCAP's governance committee, which essentially sets the agenda for what the board of directors is going to be addressing as the top priorities for county governments in Pennsylvania. And the main topic for the renewed list this year was the budget. So there is a consensus among the members that we need to make a priority of a budget impasse strategy that would not only serve us for the current impasse, but in the likely event that we have further budget impasses going forward. So I think this is a very forward-looking approach. There were some initial ideas thrown around in the hour and a half that we met. And, we had an opportunity to address upside and downside of a number of those. Most of them were put on the list as we need further discussion on this. So there's going to be a committee convened, a subcommittee or task group convened sometime, we have yet to decide, for us to really start talking out a strategy to deal with budget impasses that would help counties deal with prolonged absences of the state dollars that we depend on, and that would hopefully mitigate some of those impacts on us as well. So more to come on that. I'm sure that will be very, very interesting process and far-reaching consequences. So, it's nice to see CCAP being involved in something this important, and frankly, taking a pretty bold step on finding forward-looking solutions. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. That takes us to agenda item 33, which is report of executive sessions. And we'd like to report that there were 2 held, one on October 9th, 2025 at 10 a.m. and the other on October 16th, 2025 at 11 a.m., both regarding personnel. Now I'll ask if there is any other business to come before the board today.
I don't have other business, but I wanted to comment on Commissioner Eichelberger's comment on the CCAP Governance Committee. And I know that this board has had a conversation with our CFO about this. There's an idea floating around out there that says that counties would be asking the state government in the event of a budget impasse to flat fund human services to get counties through a budget impasse. And I know that as we have had this conversation, there's been consensus of what a bad idea that is for a variety of reasons, including but not limited to, we would never get any increase in funding. I mean, that's the first piece of it. If they're going to get through a budget impasse and take counties and say, here's your human service dollars, here's your flat fund, here's your flat funding, they're never revisiting those dollars again. I personally hate the idea of giving our legislature an out on this. They need to pass a budget, they need to do their job, and they need to do it in a timely fashion. And so I had a conversation, I was at a committee meeting where there was a conversation where someone in that meeting wanted to make a motion to the effect of, we're recommending that we go to the legislature and say, fund county human services in the time of a budget impasse. And after discussion, that motion was rescinded. It's such a bad idea. And I know it feels like it would help, but it is a long-term issue. So I want to make sure that that's on the record, that we have had those conversations and that that is not something that this board recommends. It certainly is not something that I recommend.
Gina, while I don't disagree with that, the one thing that would be interesting would be if there was a default clause, if they have to budget with a CPI increase. That would be interesting. If there were some mechanism, Gary, as these discussions progress. But I completely agree. You lose all leverage.
But that gives you leverage.
Right. If they are required to fund you with a certain set increase, then they may be over a barrel. And I know there have been other ideas flying about, why don't they start withholding salaries again? Because that was the last time they felt any, not just for the legislature, but for the employees of state government. It's a challenge to sit here and be budgeting for the remainder of the year and making sure that we're not, that we continue to pay our vendors that are providing critical services. And luckily we've made changes to be able to do this, but not all counties can have had that vision or were able to prepare in the same way. So it is a hot topic.
It is a very hot topic. And the other thing, the legislature is elected just like we're elected. And one of the things that puts pressure on them is when the services are not there, then they have a constituency going, whoa, what is going on? I can't get my mental health care. I can't get IDD care. I can't keep the court system open, right? I can't have my court case heard because there's no money. That is pressure. that's an important piece of pressure to be able to exert.
It's just not fair to do to the taxpayers.
No,
because
it's
of
not.
this- Of our county.
It's worth mentioning, there was, I think you alluded to it, there was emails that went around, I don't think I'm out of turn mentioning it. Some of the row officers have been batting around ideas about whether they should continue to submit checks and reports to the Commonwealth in this environment. And there was a lot of good thought put into those, I believe. So, there's a lot of things that sound very appealing, like legislators not getting paid and withholding money. And these things are very, satisfying to think about, but it's going to be important. And that's why I'm pleased about this group is we're going to sit down, we're going to put all the ideas on the table and we're going to, run them out to find out what the downstream consequences would be. So we will be making decisions, hopefully, or CCAP will be proposing changes rather that are thoughtful and that are effective and not just reactionary or vindictive, quite frankly. So this is the right way to do it. So we'll see how it plays out. But I compliment our row officers for having weighed in on it already on their own with some ideas. And even in that conversation, they're like, well, we thought about this. This is not a good idea. And that's the type of critical thinking that we're going to need to really get to a solution instead of just pounding the table and stamping our feet. So we want something that matters and helps.
All right.
Okay, I will just throw 2 cents onto the conversation and say that if they were going to factor in CPI so that it wasn't flat funded, they should also factor in population growth and population decline.
Well, wouldn't that be
Nothing would get people
fantastic?
to the table faster than really advocating for their area, especially if there's a decline. So anyway.
I would recommend that now on every budget. On every
Well,
year.
yes,
That's-
wouldn't.
Funding formulas matter.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no other business, our meeting is adjourned.